Yo, what's up, fellow gamers? So you gotta understand that my skill as a programmer on like a scale of like 0 to 10, we're probably rocking like a 3. So keeping things not super complicated is generally for the best. With that said, I'm not skilled enough to do Go. I know. I said Go, and now I'm saying no Go. So like, I don't know. Hear me out. There's a reason for this, okay? You're gonna be on my side in just a minute. Just put the gun down, okay? Alright, good. For context, okay? I found a book series called Game Programming Gym, and it is genuinely fantastic. This one is probably the one you should go for, but I got this one on eBay for $6, complete with CD and yellowing plastic. What a deal! Now, I'm self-taught, and these books are really good specifically because I'm self-taught. They go into architecture, coding strategies, different things that I have not seen taught on YouTube. YouTube has a bit of a beginner's bias in general, so there's a lot of stuff for like people who haven't done shit. But the moment you get past that and you're in the kind of intermediate range, there's not really a whole lot. There's a lull. There's kind of like a lot for beginners, jack shit if you're in the dip for intermediate, and then like advanced stuff. So I'm in the dip. So a lot of what I have to do now is like go out and find my own shit. So if like me, you are in the dip, okay? You are dipped up right now. You're lost in the sauce. Then I recommend looking up game programming gyms. There's a section in this book about the finite state machine. And you might be like, don't you already have a finite state machine? Aren't you already using that paradigm? And yes, I am. But it's also true that my finite state machine is shit. This went into a generalized finite state machine using concepts like messages and shit that I've never heard anyone else talk about. I'm like, oh fuck, how do I expect to do Go, this book that's older than I am? It's doing more complicated shit with the finite state machine that I've never even heard of. What hubris I must have to think that I, lowly mortal myself that I am, could do Go when I don't even understand finite state machine. How stupid of me. How dumb. I should feel dumb for having thought that. So, putting Gope on hold. I'm not qualified for Gope. I can't do it justice. I won't be able to do it in the way that I want to be able to do it in. So we're gonna ease off the Gope road right now. We're gonna take the foot off the gas pedal. While I do research about AI in video games, finite state machines, behavior trees, Gope, things of that nature, I'm going to work on mechanics for the game that we still need. So there's still plenty of stuff for me to work on while I do research about this and better myself so that eventually I can actually implement AI in the way that I want it to be. Because I really do want Gope. I really genuinely do think that Gope is by far the best way to accomplish the thing that I want to do. But I recognize that if I keep going down the Gope road, updates are going to be slowed, if becoming non-existent. It's going to be boring. There won't be any uploads. It'll be like me being very confused on stream all the time. And probably I'm going to burn myself out. So instead of basically halting development to really just cannonball into Gope, instead, work on things that we do need, mechanics that need to be implemented into the game, while I learn more about the AI and the stuff I need to know on the side. That way, updates are rolling, development is going, and then eventually we can still do Gope. So Gope is not off the table. We're just diverting attention a little bit, so that way updates are going, game progresses, and things keep moving while I build myself up and while I learn more and while I understand what I need to know to be able to make the game as good as it can. So what other mechanics exist for me to work on? And I realized that I've never actually given you a vertical slice, an overview of what I think the game will be, or my vision for the game and how it will be played and what will happen in it. Let's get into it, baby! So anyway, what does the gameplay loop? What can you expect the game to be? So in general, Yandere Simulator was described by Yandere Dev himself, our Lord and Savior, Yandere Dev, man of the Holy Chalice. He described his Yandere Simulator as like a Hitman and Persona. I've never played a Persona game in my entire life. I've played like 5 minutes of Shin Megami Tensei for the PS1, but that doesn't really count. So I don't know what goes into a Persona. I don't know what Persona's about. I know nothing about it. I know it's very popular. I know people like that game, but I don't know what the fuck's going on with that. I'm frankly not that interested in making it, so I'm not going to do that. Crazy, I know, but Hitman plus dating sim is somewhat compelling in a way. You know, you're trying to win your love, but you're also trying to commit crimes and then have them not interfere, so you're like balancing these two diametrically opposed gameplay loops kind of intertwined in a way. I think it's compelling. Anyway, so the game can be roughly divided into two sections where you have the stealth action section and then you have the dating simulator section. And they're relatively non-mingling except for a few key areas. The gameplay loop would look like this. You start off in your house and you go down to your basement to get told who your rival is, who your target is that you have to dispatch. And then in the same area, either upstairs, a different room, or in the basement, there is a bestie area of sorts where it lists all the different creatures in the game. It immediately flips to your rivals page, right? And it gives you a bunch of information about what the rival is, what their species is, a bit of lore, a bit of context, right? And also different areas. It gives you a map of the school. This is a bit of a side note, a bit of a side tangent right now. It being a school isn't actually necessary. It doesn't need to take place in a school, and quite frankly, I don't think maybe it should. It kind of makes me uncomfortable for it to be taking place in a school, so like I'm thinking maybe Victorian scientists, mad scientist laboratory, Victorian style laboratory type deal with the body horror that they had then, and the kind of like alchemical wizardry where you like there's a lot of superstition and like supernatural stuff going on, but it's still a kind of science and it's almost steampunk, but not really. And there's like the Dracula type thing where like there's a little bit of, you know, like sci-fi-esque stuff, but it's also like potions and curses and hexes and that kind of thing. I think that really fits this theme for what we're going for, and I already want to do gothic architecture anyway, so I think it really makes the most sense for it to be at least themed as like Victorian era Mad Lab scientist, maybe like a Dracula's castle or an Alice in Wonderland kind of bizarro fucking thing. I don't know, that seems more interesting. That's more compelling to me as an idea than Japanese high school, yeah. You know, like maybe that's just me, but that seems more interesting and fits with the theme and all that. So I think I'll go with that. Probably, it's my game, I'm going with that. That's, no more school. We're now Victorian laboratory thing. I don't know the exact, I can see it in my head, but I don't know what you would call it. Harry Potter, Hogwarts maybe, that kind of shit, you know what I'm saying? No, it doesn't need to be a fucking school is all I'm saying. Like it could be an underground government facility. Could be. There's no reason it has to be a school. It could be anything. Anyway, when you look through the bestiary, it'll give you a mini-map. It'll show you the locations of items that may be of interest to you, and they won't be like the best way to dispatch your target. It'll be a starting point for people who haven't played the game before. Here's something that you can like, you should probably go to this item, and it'll help you out. I think it would be cool if stated in the lore of the creature, if there is a specific weakness that you will have access to that in some form or another. Take the Rusalka, for example. The Rusalka has to keep their hair wet to be alive, a bit like a reverse Charmander, right? And like, let's say that there's a hair dryer that you can take from home that normally wouldn't be really used for anything, but for the Rusalka is a potential method to dispatch the target, to dispatch the Rusalka. You could dry their hair and they'll die, or you could come up with some way to dry their hair. Something of that nature, where heat is applied in some kind of way and their hair is dried and hey, they're dead, right? Stuff like that. So if I point a hairdryer at you, you're not gonna die, okay? But the Rusalka, maybe. So turning mundane items into potential dispatching methods, I think is a very interesting way to go about the game and really make it so that the creature itself, the lore of it actually matters. It's mechanically impactful as opposed to just being, hey, look, it's a ghost ship. Cool. You know what I mean? Once you dispatch a target, it's somewhat important that you don't get caught. Obviously. If someone sees you bloody, they'll report you. And if they see a body and people go missing, anxiety goes up and guards are more present and it's, life becomes harder for you. So it's a way to reward clean kills and only murdering the person that you are actually targeting. The more that you kill, the harder life becomes. And so if you go on a wanted rampage, well, you're basically screwed. The anxiety meter and the spawning of guards is a way to really reward you for playing the game well. It's a skill reward. The rich get richer in a way. I also want there to be multiple ways to dispatch of a body. Each one of them giving their own kind of perks that you may want to do, you may not want to do it, you may. So my thought process is that there will be like the easiest method, get rid of the body, you don't get anything from it. The body's gone, you're clean, whatever, good, move on. The hardest one I think will provide the most benefit. So I think as a zombie, it may be interesting if you ate your target that you would gain some ability of theirs. Some piece of them now gets transferred to you. And I would only want this to apply to the rivals, to your targets specifically, and to no one else. So that you don't, you can't just find the guy that gives the most broken ability or whatever and then kill them and then your life's a breeze. No, if they're not a target, then sucks to suck, you don't get anything from it. But also, different people and different locations wanting the body for their own purposes or whatever. Maybe they give you a stat increase or money. I don't know what money would be used for, but maybe they give you something. You get something in return, but you have to get the body there without being seen. Maybe difficult, maybe it's worth it, maybe it's not, it depends. Maybe they don't care whose body it is. So you kill someone else, you increase the meter, and life is harder, but you gain something from it. There's a bit of a player choice there that I think is a compelling enough feature to want to include it. So I think that will be interesting to have like little shops. Maybe there are shops around that deal with dead bodies. I don't know. Maybe there's a butcher. It could be there's things here that I think are interesting to be able to do and pull off that like I kind of want to do it. And especially given the Victorian era, Frankenstein's monster body dealer kind of like that's cool. Okay, that's freaky deaky. I like how that looks. I like it. I have the best ideas. My ideas are the shit. But anyway, so that's my kind of vision for how dead bodies and the player kind of have their, do I do this? Do I do that? Do I gain something from this? Do I not gain? Maybe I should, and who knows, right? So that kind of thing where bodies and killing are both a boon, but also a danger and a risk and may make life harder, but maybe the benefit's worth it. Who knows, right? That's my idea. Let me know in the comments if you think that my idea is trash or not, but I think it's compelling, personally. Currently in my mind, there's 5 ways that you might want to dispatch a target. Melee weapons, you have hit scan weapons, and you have projectile weapons. And those are the 3 main player-driven, immediate, action type things. You shoot the gun, you stab the guy, you throw the thing, okay? And then I have, in my head, there are traps that maybe you can set that the NPC can walk on and set off, or other NPCs will end up interacting with it, and it, it makes your life, it's bad, and, there's some risk there, but, you won't get bloody, so you won't, there's less risk for you to get caught, but maybe more, if it doesn't go well, if you don't plan properly, it's risky to pull off. But also supernatural items as well. If you have any ideas for supernatural curse type objects or entities that you know of, this is an oddly difficult thing to research. The one thing that I have in mind right now is called Tomino's Hell, and it's basically a poem, and if you read it out loud, you die. Right? So if you get target to read it out loud somehow, by some means, and they die, and you're like, oh dude, okay, haha. Things like that, where it's an item but it's cursed, or this thing that you do, they die, or they get cursed, or they get really sick and die, something like that. Stuff like that where it's like a curse, a hex, a supernatural, stuff like that where it's not a weapon, it's not a booby trap, it's some supernatural thing that you can make happen to them by some means. I don't have a whole lot of examples of that kind of thing, and I would like to have more of them. I would want them to be difficult to pull off. Obviously the balance of this would be that it would be hard to pull off, but the risk of getting caught and the downside to the player is the least risky. Hard setup, least risk. You know what I mean? If you have any examples of things that fit this bill, Bloody Mary, Tell Me Knows Hell, please leave a comment letting me know what some of them are, because I genuinely cannot find shit. Also, we haven't hit 200 students, so I'm still down to hear more. If you like the devlogs and the effort that I'm putting in and trying to make this, if you like the videos, you like what I'm doing, be sure to leave a like, and a comment, and maybe even subscribe if you really want to keep up to date with what's going on. I very much appreciate it. I said things like melee, hit scan, projectile, that kind of thing. So melee being like a knife, a sword, an axe, baseball bat, that kind of thing. Multiple different weapons, roughly the same kind of thing. Hit scan's pretty obvious. Hit scan's a gun. Pew pew pew. Sniper rifle, pistol, that kind of thing. It's a gun. Projectile, you know, baseball, rock, grenade launcher, rocket, actually. All those projectiles. Pretty simple stuff. We'll just have to use the camera's audio, which is significantly worse. So I'm gonna have a really fun time trying to make that not suck ass. It is what it is. What you gonna do? I'm gonna have to keep a fucking eye on that, is what I'm gonna have to do. That's awesome. That's really cool. Linux is fun. I enjoy Linux. Why the fuck is that a thing? God damn it. Okay. You can never have nice things. Things can't just work. That covers the stealth combat side of things, so hopefully that is all competent, but that leaves quite a bit of time left in the day, you know, after you've done your murdering. There's still time, you know? How do you spend the rest of your day? Wow, that's where we get into the dating sim kind of thing. What does that look like? What does the dating simulator type deal thing look like? From my understanding, from having done some rudimentary research, I asked my Discord dating simulators to play, and what I got was Chicken Game, the Pigeon Game, and Doki Doki. So I asked ChatGPT, I asked it a one-sentence prompt. I said, hey, Mr. Jippity, could you give me a comprehensive list of all the game mechanics present within dating simulators? And it said, yes. Yes, I can. Here's 22 pages of game mechanics present within dating simulators. And I said, thanks. I appreciate that. Obviously, I'm not going to include all of that, but in general, my observation, looking through the list, it seems to me that a dating simulator is a series of mini games where you have stats, you do a mini game, and then your stats are changed. And depending on what your stats are, you have access to different mini games you can do. And you just kind of go through a cycle of input, mini game, output, the mini game output, which is the input to the mini game output, and eventually you kind of like go along the route of mini games with outputs, and then you try and get to the ending you like. You try and get to the I want to win the girl. I want Kentucky Fried, that kind of thing. That's what it looks like to me. So what kind of mini games will exist? Well, dialogue will obviously be a mini game. Frankly, I have it in my heart of hearts. I think it would be very funny if I made the dialogue mini game the fucking Oblivion wheel. I don't think I'll do that, but it would be really funny. It would be very funny if I did. Could you imagine the Oblivion wheel? You know what the people that would be into this game would really like? The Oblivion dialogue wheel. I know it. I don't thank me. Don't thank me yet. Don't thank me yet. It's not been made. It's not been made. It would be funny though. Some Hello Kitty girl being like, new Yandere Simulator. New Yandere Sim. I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it. What the fuck is this wheel? So, dialogue mini game, okay? What do I actually imagine it looking like? You would have them say something to you, you would have a series of responses, and they would have some kind of meter, maybe multiple meters, explaining different information, you know, how much they like you, if they hate you, their general mood, whatever, right? Some information. And then you give a response, and then the meters change, and you're trying to get to really max out these like meters and really minimize these dislike meters and make sure that they're not disgusted by you because you haven't taken a shower and you smell like shit. They may not like talking to you if you're covered in blood. They may be like, whoa, what the fuck? You're gross. You need to shower. So that, you know, generally that's what the mini game would look like. And there would be wrong options, there would be correct options, and your whole goal is to try and like really balance these meters in whatever way you can. Obviously, your love interest would have a favorite type. Who knows? Maybe they'll only talk. Maybe the ghost ship will only love you if you are absolutely fucking jacked. If you're ripped, and they will not talk to you if you know a goddamn thing about math. You know any math? Get the fuck out of here. I need you ripped, and I need you stupid. That's how I like Anyway, the preferences of the love interest will be randomly generated, of course. Every time you have a run, it'll be different, so it won't be the same each and every time. And that's kind of how I'm going about thinking about how I want this game to be. I want there to be replayability value, so I plan on there being unlocks, specifically different characters, weapons, and items. Maybe if you do really well in a minigame, you get access to an item, or if you fish, you get access to Kelpie, or any number of things. You get new items, use them in new ways, get new NPCs that behave slightly differently or like different things, or stuff that adds replayability. Randomly generated stat preferences is one of those things. So it's not the same each and every time. It's different each and every time you play it. The philosophy that I have when making one of these minigames is that you can play it for an hour and it doesn't get boring. Not that you would end up ever actually playing the minigame for an hour, but cumulatively, you might play it for that amount of time. Just over several runs or over the course of the entire game, or it should be compelling enough to be able to be played for an hour and that to be fun. So what kind of minigames am I thinking about? Well, obviously I want there to be poker with like fishing. Each and every different class will have a different minigame for it. I'm thinking history will be a memory game, because history class is essentially just remembering facts and such. Like, each and every class will have a minigame, and if you do really well at that game, you get a boost in some stat. And over time, each and every day, your stats will decay by a certain amount. And this is actually important, because if you accidentally get too ripped and your love interest is like, no, too strong, can't date you, right? That's an issue. Then you'll soft block yourself unless stats decay over time. So that way, if you accidentally go for the wrong build, you're not immediately just fucked. Also, in this part of the game, I really want stalking to be part of it. I really want you to like have to follow the love interest around and not be seen in order to gain information about what their interests are, and that just be part of the game. And if you don't do that, the chances of you having a correct option in the dialogue minigame goes way, way, way down. If you don't know what they're interested in, you can't have a conversation with them, because the way to make them like you and, you know, be interested in you is get this fucking talking to them. Just like in real life, you have to actually have conversations with people to get them to like you. You get to talk to them. You have to talk to them and you'll not smell like shit. You have to be clean. You have to say the right things, not be an asshole, that kind of stuff. And that's a lot easier if you know what their preferences are. Because maybe they really want you to smell like shit. Maybe they're really into femcells. Who knows? Ghost Ship wants you to be dumb, buff as fuck, and also a femcell. You gotta be stanky as hell. You gotta have some grungle. You gotta have a thick layer of grungle on you. You need to be a grungly buff. The Kelpie won't love you unless you smell like dog ass. That's kind of what that would look like, right? Now, obviously, this is a pretty bare bones the list of features for a game, but those are like the core features that like this game needs to have a somewhat decent gameplay loop. So that's a basic rundown for the idea that I have in my head for what this game would look like. Again, if that interests you, if that piques your fancy, like, subscribe, comment about some ideas you might have for things that are interesting. You can also join the Discord and suggest things and give feedback, post art, music, and such. That is there. I also have a Ko-fi and a Patreon. If you want your name to be in the game, the highest tier on the Patreon will give you a customized tombstone in the graveyard of the game, which currently there are 4 people in that tombstone category. 2 of them are on Patreon, and the other 2 are people that have donated a fair bit on Ko-fi, and I felt that it only justified for them to also get their own thing. So if that's interesting to you, the links are in the description. Again, thank you so much for just watching the video. If you've gotten to this point, genuinely, I cannot thank you enough. The Patreons are here. I appreciate them. so much. Genuinely, thank you guys. I could not thank you guys enough, and it's at the point where it starts feeling. I worry about it coming off as insincere because I don't emote properly, but genuinely, thank you. And that's pretty much it. So thank you. Appreciate you guys being here, watching the videos enough. If you think you have friends that will enjoy this type of thing, share the video, like it, comment, all that kind of thing, all that stuff. And as always,